Well guys, this is it. Not only this is the finale part of the films of Super Luigi Galaxy, but it's also about the fact that, like I said before, today's day is going to be the double upload. For the sake of today it's the 31st of October today, in this case in 2022, which I'll explain more details about that as soon as we're able to get this started. So, hey, what's up everybody? It is I am the one and only Maxi here once again, and I'm back for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Super Mario 3D All-Stars while we're still playing through Super Luigi Galaxy for the Nintendo Switch. So last time we did manage to able to 100% through everything in terms of Super Mario Galaxy playthrough as Mario. In addition to that though, we also did manage to able to briefly look at Rosalina's Storybook library, so just in case we just want to get this out of the way. So today, for this video is the fact that this will actually be the true finale of Super Mario Galaxy / Super Luigi Galaxy for the sake of Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Like, we still have to go through the Star Festival as Luigi, which makes us a grand total of, well, to be more specifically, 121 Power Stars. Now, we've already done that for Mario, but for the sake of the funds of this video alone, alongside with the other video coming up later, then basically we can able to actually get ourselves the final Power Star in the entire game, to be more specifically Super Mario Galaxy or Super Luigi Galaxy, depending on what playthroughs you go into. So in this case though, let's go ahead and get ourselves the 100 purple coins for the final time, and it's also the final time we're going to be collecting some of these star bits, even though it might be not necessary at this point in time, just because, well, it seems very obvious about the fact that the game is actually finished and done with. Well, not exactly just yet though, like I said before, but that's only mainly because, well, today we're going to be hit on to the double uploading schedules for today. So, in this case though, today's day is of course the, like I said before, is the 31st of October today, in this case in 2022 today, and it's also worth noting for is the fact that not only today it is the Halloween day today, but it's also happy 3rd year anniversary of the release of Luigi's Mansion 3 for the Nintendo Switch. So happy 3-year anniversary of the game's release, which is especially notable because obviously we are still playing as Luigi after all, despite the fact that it doesn't usually take place in a haunted theme level because, well, suffice to say that we basically already done most of the galaxies, in addition to the prankster comments here and there. So as a result though, there's no need to worry about the forms of stuff other parts anymore. So in this case though, you're still able to receive the actual photo at the end when you talk to Male Turd right here, and he also said about the forms of that particular, well, the actual special message. So, and I think also he also says something a little bit more altered slightly, rather than saying, you know, Wii message board, like I've already mentioned this already, ever since in the final part of the Mario's playthrough of this entire Super Mario Galaxy game, but also about the fact the matter is though, it's just, well, that's all I can say about it really. So, there we go folks, we've got every single Power Star in the game, making a grand total of 242 stars in between both Mario and Luigi's playthrough within 121 Power Stars each player. So, yeah, everything's all goes all nicely and finely dandy and everything, especially because, well, like I said before, we've got 242 stars combined together. So in this case though, yeah, everything else will be come to expect by that point. So, although obviously much like in a Mario's playthrough, we still need to go for that particular Rosalina storybook, and this will be the last time we're going to be able to, well, stumble across this particular storybook, because obviously we're getting very close towards the end now, so we can basically what to expect, that we've shown ourselves everything, minus with some exceptions here and there. Well, mind you, I did manage to able to try my best to able to actually just go for the entire faster portion if possible. Well, despite the odd couple of delays in the past, mainly due to the fact that we just take some bit of time, so that way we can able to do other games or series every now and then, so that we can able to make something a little bit more, how should I say, different when it comes to variety. But regardless of such though, it's just the fact that I'm always having a great time with the actual compilation so far. So yeah, that's as far as saying goes, but I think I should probably save my final thoughts of it though, until specifically whatever we get to later today. So, And a short thing's worth noting for is the fact that I think we've only got about 8 more days to go now until Sonic Frontiers will be releasing for multiple platforms. So I'm very looking forward to it though, especially notable because I've been so excited able to see that game in action. Well, mind you, I ignored the spoiler territory for the sake of before the actual game's released, much like the forms of any other games before that. Like, for instance, I ignored the spoilers for, not only Mario Plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Mind you, I'm actually on the 4th world at the moment, so in some cases though, it does take me a bit of some time to get used to with all that, not only the battles, but also with the forms of some strategies involved once again. But either way though, as far as saying goes, that's about it basically, so... And not only that, but also I've recently watched the new Doctor Who special, which appears to be The Power of the Doctor, and let me tell you, well, again, I'm probably not going to spoil things majorly for this point, just because it's a brand new release. Mind you, it's only a thing in the UK. I'm not exactly sure about the American version though, but let me know in the comments down below about the fact that, do you guys ever watched Doctor Who? Because I'd like to hear your thoughts. And also another question for today, did you enjoy Halloween today? Because I sure to you about the fact that the only time I do celebrate Halloween is the fact that not only do I ever experience Luigi's Mansion games, but also something related to horror-themed boards from Mario Party games, ranging from Horrorland from Mario Party 2, and also Boo's Haunted Bash from the likes of Mario Party 4, and I think maybe potentially King Boo's Haunted Hideaway from Mario Party 8, despite I'm not a big fan of that board, and also Chemic's Library in Mario Party DS, Boo's Horror Castle in Mario Party 9, Chemic's Carpet Ride from Island Tour, and Haunted Trail from 10, and World 2 from the likes of in Star Rush, and well, Horrorland from Superstars. So that might be saying something. So but I digress though. I suppose I should probably also mention about something else as well, is the fact that, well, potentially speaking though, is the fact that until at some point that some YouTubers out there mentioned something related to the next Transformers trailer is going to be up, to be more specifically Transformers Rise of the Beast trailer, as far as I've heard, is going to be, the trailer should be up until December time. So as a result though, despite I'm not exactly a huge Transformers fan, I must admit though right away, but that's only mainly because about the fact that, well, I've heard about the films themselves, but honestly, it's not my cup of tea, so I might be biased, I guess, when it comes to different opinions on different topics worth noting for, but that's probably just me anyway, so... Although the actual storybook itself, with the Rosalina storybook, the actual, the story itself plays out exactly the same as, the Mario's version, except, well, obviously Luigi decides they're able to enter the actual library instead of Mario, so that's the only differences between, Mario and Luigi's playthrough for sure, but regardless of such though, it plays out exactly the same, so, something's worth classified for noticing this, so... But again, if you've already seen this on the original Wii version of the playthrough, then obviously check it out if you can. So, in some cases though, there's not much right to home about, so... Oh, and another thing I would like to mention is the fact that, relatively speaking, in addition with Sonic X, you know, with the actual Japanese anime, like Sonic anime, basically though, is the fact that not only does that particular show will able to become 20 years old until next year, but I get the strong feeling that also around the same year, within 2023 in mind, that both of those Sonic cartoons, specifically Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, as well as Sonic the Hedgehog, aka, if I like to call it, Sonic Sat AM, because obviously Sonic Sat AM always shows up during the forms of Saturday mornings, so... which it makes pretty obvious sense. Well, I still have not seen the majority of the episodes in Sonic Sat AM, but I definitely heard some good things about it though, especially after almost 30 years since when it first came out in 1993. Mind you that both of those shows came out during exactly the same year as each other, to be more specifically 1993. But I will say Sonic ZM is definitely a little bit more interesting as well as entertaining at the same time in comparison to the adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, in my opinion, just because, I don't know, looking back on it right now, for the adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, it's a bit cheesy and corny, and also on top of all that stuff though, the art style looks a bit bizarre. I will must admit though right away, because of how the fact that, well, usually if life can gather, that I usually enjoyed the actual show as a kid, but looking back in it now, like I said before, it just feels a bit all over the place. Well, mind you about the fact that there does have a lot of memes when it comes to like, that's no good, or so penis usual I see, or anything else like that. So, which apparently some adults get confused about that word, like something a little bit more, well, I don't know what I call it per se though, because again, it's been a very long time since I actually known this show, because, well, I found it a little bit cheesy at points, but that's just me. And, yeah, I just can't believe. Oh, in addition to that though, is the fact that, well, when it comes to everything else, when it comes to 2023, we still haven't heard anything when it comes to Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget yet, but I really highly doubt that the trailer should be up and doing at some point in 2023, but it's so hard to tell at this point because we're still on 2022 at the moment, but either way though, that's far as saying much, so... Oh yeah, let's get to the forms of another topic for this point today while this is going on. The reason why I've decided able to bring back Pikmin 1 and 2 on both on the Wii, that's only mainly because I think the controls feels a lot more responsive than the forms of how it does it on the GameCube controller, I must admit. And on top of all that stuff though, I just still enjoyed the widescreen feature for both Pikmin 1 and 2 on both on the Wii. And on top of all that stuff though is the fact that I also decided able to bring back Pikmin 3, but this time on a different platform, which being on the Nintendo Switch, just because, well, as far as what Pinkie Pie and Pac-Man have already mentioned about this, ever since in Mario Party Superstars, that basically though is the fact that the reason why we go for the Switch version instead of the Wii U version because, well, it's not possible to able to get DLC anymore for the Wii U version of the game. Thus, it does have some bit of questionable issues I find with the Wii U version, such as for instance the lack of multiple save files, and on top of all that stuff though, there's well, I suppose as far as I can tell that you have to use the gamepad for the majority of the time for not only looking up on the map, but also trying to take control of both controls at the same time, which I found was a little bit cumbersome to play. And on top of all that stuff though is the fact that, well, thankfully though, the Switch version does have multiple difficulties, so in some cases though, if you're casual to the game, I highly recommend the normal mode, but if you're in a hardcore mode, or if you're a hardcore Pikmin fan, basically though, you highly suggest start things off with hard mode, but if you complete hard mode, you get spicy, or ultra spicy mode, so... which means that, well, as far as I can tell, it doesn't have any that much differences there, apart from you can only take about, let's just say, 60 Pikmin at a time. I think that's the only differences anyway. So, well, mind you, I haven't exactly experienced Pikmin 3 on the Switch yet, but don't worry, I'll get around to this on my own time, because I still need to, well, go for this game first. So, anywho though, and aside from all that stuff though, and also I decided to bring back Hey Pikmin on the 3DS, despite a bit a black sheep in terms of the Pikmin games, but that's only mainly because it's on 2D plane. And on top of all that stuff though is the fact that the reason why I brought those 4 Pikmin games back, because, you know, finally, Pikmin 4 has now existence for the Nintendo Switch. So, that's the reason why I decided to bring back the Pikmin series once again, and because of that though, and short things worth noting for, one thing I will say though, that unfortunately though, we've no longer have ourselves not only Wii Sports, but also Wii Sports Resorts as well. That's only mainly because I don't normally play these games in upstairs most likely. I much prefer playing these 2 games downstairs in the living room, so that way we can have some fun, entertaining moments for not only for multiplayer, but also have some fun experiences when it comes to like playing these 2 games in the living room rather than on my bedroom most of the time, because otherwise it's hard to explain really, because either way though, despite the actual the Wii collection at the moment right now feels a bit all over the place. But regardless of such though, we'll try to point things out until possibly in the future or something. I have no words to think about it, but either way though, that's all I can honestly try to ask for, so. But I digress. And aside from all that stuff though, also, that My Little Pony, the game-loved game that has been out for a very long time, apparently though, around the same day actually, as what Sonic Frontiers came out in multiple platforms alike, that apparently though, My Little Pony the game, on the iPhone most likely, by Gameloft, apparently that game is going to be a decade old until the 8th of November, so. Yeah, I suppose we'll just let Some Toys Else will mention more details about that until whenever they do new set of Let's Plays during at some point until next month or November after this particular Let's Play has been finished, so completely. So yeah, everything else will be come together for this point. Oh, and also another thing too is the fact that speaking of iOS, recently iOS decided able to bring version 16.1 update for the iOS platforms, which means something new has been happening, like they've now able to actually access not only, well, we already experienced that you can now use the Joy-Con controllers in order able to play the actual games, well, some games on the iPhone, but now they decided able to add in more controllers to the table. Like, for instance, they'll added in Nintendo Switch Online set of controllers, ranging from the NES controller, Super Nintendo controller, and the N64 controller, and finally the Sega Mega Drive controller / Sega Genesis controllers. So that's actually pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. Especially noticeable, well, you can now able to experience multiple controllers all at once. Well, I suppose you only have to use one controller at a time for likely certain games as far as I'm aware. Like, I still managed to test out with, Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2 and CD, and for Episode 2, except Episode 1, just because Episode 1 only utilizes touchscreen alongside with gyro tilting controls, which I can possibly understand, because it's pretty obvious about the fact that this game has not been updated since Journey of Forms within 2011 as far as I'm aware. So yeah, I can totally see why that's usually been the case, so. Oh, and talking of which though actually, is the fact that, well, we're almost there to the forms of the next tour coming up for Mario Kart Tour. That's what appears to be, of course, the Autumn Tour, which I suppose we'll let Some Toys Else will also mention more details about that until the next tour will actually happen for the sake of the Autumn Tour, because, well, as far as I'm aware, I haven't got that much information to talk about that tour just yet though, but then again though, we'll have to wait and see what happens during at some point by the start of November, specifically 2nd of November, so yeah, as far as saying goes, that's pretty much as far as I can talk about for the sake of, well, anything else to be more specifically, so, but I digress. And I guess another thing I should probably explain about this as well, that, actually, I've got no words, because either way though, despite, I was gonna able to mention more details about, well, other films alike, but I think, truth be told, I think that's as far as I can talk about for, certain news at this point, although, I was expecting if I was trying to able to mention something more details like, although I do definitely know that both Splatoon 3 and Mario Plus Rapid Sparks of Hope, that recently both of those games receive updates, so, which I haven't exactly followed that much of it though. Oh, and also another thing I would like to say, I'm actually really looking forward to discuss upon the forms of what's going to be coming up in November. To be more specifically, that we're actually getting very close to the actual sales records update for the Nintendo Switch consoles, but also the game's library itself as well. Well, that's only mainly because they always attempt to do that when it comes to likely for every single quarter parts of the year. So, even though it's hard to explain, because I think the last time we mentioned about this was, I think it was in sometime in August or something like this, when it comes to mentioning something related to, like, not only game sales records, but also the actual Nintendo Switch, console, sales records or something like that since then, so... But yeah, I think I already discussed all about it. Oh, and another thing, that during the next month as well, unfortunately though, we just have to celebrate our 10th anniversary of the game's release of Paper Mario Sticker Star during the next month, so... Oh boy, there might be a lot of controversials for that game during at some point in next month as well. Wow, I've got no words to think about it, so... Still, I just can't deny by that. So, despite I still haven't beaten the game yet, just because of that, well, some frustrating design choice with all that, you know, if you use the sticker once, it's gone forever, and you have to find them again. Although it seems kind of similar to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, but I will say Breath of the Wild is actually a lot of fun in my opinion, just because you can able to find a lot of weapons as far as fresh weapons are concerned. Well, mind you, there might be a durability situation, but regardless of such though, it might not bother me that much though, but if I want to keep my stronger weapons, then that could be a bit bothersome for some people, especially because, well, at least thankfully the Master Sword, that it does not filter a bit durability, it only just goes in like, if it starts to worn out, then basically it just recharges it for you, so. But yeah, that's as far as saying goes, that's pretty much as far as I can say, so. So yeah, for the most part, I think that's as far as I can try to discuss upon for this point today, so... Again, I suppose we'll let some toy sales be able to mention more details about not only something gaming related, but also, according to the forms of the actual next month as well, that will also mark the 10th anniversary of the premiere of, excuse me, that with the premiere of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic Season 3, which meaning the Crystal Empire Parts 1 and 2, meaning about the fact I can't even believe that those two episodes combined will be eventually become a decade old. Like, seriously, time flies, you know? Especially until specifically by the end of 2022, I'm officially become a brony for 10 years. Like, seriously, 10 years since I first become a brony when it comes to likely knowing about Friendship is Magic show itself. Well, mind you, the only episode I do introduce to that was actually in episode 8 in Season 1 called Look Before You Sleep. So, yeah, Slumber Party 101 or Slumber 101, as far as I like to point things out, so... But, then again, that conversation will come until in a later tradition, until at some point in next couple of months or something, so... Yeah, everything else I would like to point things out, yeah, as far as I can say about it, so... And at this point, we're now on to the final chapter of Rosalina's storybook, and that's what appears to be family again. So, but this time, you know, we're selecting Luigi, of course, so... Of course, you can able to make things a bit faster by simply flick through pages, like simply just mash the A button, but... I think I'll let you guys read for this, especially noticeable. If you have a first time experiencing Rosalina's storybook, if you actually miss out on not only the Wii system, but also the Wii U system as well, and eventually the Switch release of Super Mario Galaxy as a game itself as part of the 3D All-Stars, then you feel right at home when it comes to likely if you want to know any other, like, stories to tell, or anything else like that, so... So, again, there's not much else I can say, so I apologize for that particular awkwardness that's going on around here, because, well, let me tell you, I got nothing else to add for, anything else I would like to say. Well, apart from the fact that we've gotten every single Power Stars, and I think, relatively speaking, we've actually completely done with all 3 of these games combined into one. Well, mind you, 3 games and 2 playthroughs with 1 game. Like, 3 games for Super Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy. And at the same time, 2 playthroughs of Galaxy 1 for the sake of not only for Mario's playthrough, but also Luigi's playthrough as well. Despite it's a bit redundant for likely doing both of those playthroughs, but honestly, I don't mind about it too much, just like Efon's of how it does it on Sonic Heroes, just to show you guys different level designs or playing the exactly the same stages but with different teams and stimulations. But the only game exception being Shadow the Hedgehog, just because, Jesus Christ, you have to go through Wostopolis 10 times in order to be able to see, well, not only 10 non-canonical endings, but also the last story segments, which, let me tell you, it's so ridiculously over the top sometimes. But I digress. With all that being said, whilst we're able to flick through the last and the final page of this entire Rosalina storybook while showing ourselves, well, the actual comment and the telescope, the end. The end indeed. Which also comes for its fruition that we've basically done with the entire playthrough of not only Super Mario Galaxy, but also Super Luigi Galaxy for reals. So, now of course, just like in Mario's playthrough, you can still able to reread the Rosalina storybook if you wanted to. Still have to go through 9 chapters, so, but aside from all that stuff though, we've done it. We have done every single games in one in particular package for Super Mario 3D All-Stars. And let me tell you, this entire process has actually gone a little bit more a busy work more than anything, just because the amount of edits I have to deal with, and also we got to deal with the forms of some bit of some stimulations here and there, but regardless of such though, yeah, it's a nice little thing to do so. Anyway, so before we end off this part right here, we'll show off some last few extras for Super Mario Galaxy as the game itself. Once you've completed both Mario and Luigi playthroughs of the entire game, as you can see on the Yoshi's Planet face, as you can see, he's now covered in sparkles, which means you basically completed everything for not only for Super Mario Galaxy, but also the Super Luigi Galaxy as well. And on top of all that stuff though, like I said before, with Mario's 121 Power Stars and Luigi's 121 Power Stars, making a grand total of, combine these two together, makes a grand total of 242 stars. So yeah, super top notch and everything. And also about the fact that you notice that we actually got our 9 number of, you know, at the bottom of the timer around here. That's only mainly because you get yourselves the death counter, so meaning that every time you die, the death counter will actually increase. So that's not much right to say about this when it comes to death rates here and there. And of course, if you ever unlocked Super Luigi Galaxy, then you get yourselves the Luigi face planet right here. So just in case you can able to actually can tell that you can able to like change whatever like icons you want to go for, similar to the original game or the original version of the game, alongside with Super Mario Galaxy 2 as well. Well, unlike in Galaxy 2, where basically you can able to copy your profiles whatever you wish. So that basically explains it how. So, and of course, just like in the original Wii version of Super Mario Galaxy, alongside with Galaxy 2, basically you're able to actually experience 2-player multiplayer, which basically what this does, you're able to once again actually access to a co-op play. But here's the differences this time around though, is the fact that in order to activate co-op play, I can assure you for this point, that basically we have to use the separate Joy-Cons as far as I'm aware. Mind you, I haven't tested this out for myself, but that's only mainly because I'm more comfortable playing the game solely, just because I have managed to able to invite, well, yeah, forget about it, because most of the time though, that the second player might attempt to screw you over sometimes for certain situations, but it does help you on certain hardest parts about throughout the game, so. And also, as you can see, we actually did a jump cut on that little album selection around here, which as you can see I've got tons of photos here and there, including certain video montages here and there. Yes, including with the legendary fighter from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate finally comes into play, Sora from Kingdom Hearts. But let me tell you, we're not going to touch upon Smash Ultimate for a very, very long while. Until God knows, until 2024 or beyond. Well, let me know in the comments down below when you want me to do Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, because I would like to hear your thoughts. Well, despite that, well, yeah, it's hard to explain. So as you can see, we actually stumbled across not only Mario's photo, but Luigi's photo as well, which as you can tell, similar to the forms of how it does it on Super Mario Sunshine postcard, 100% ending sequence, where basically the entire image is a bit small, so yeah, not much else to add around here. So yeah, with that being said though, we got the endings off this point right here. So join me later on today for the likes of the forms of Super Mario 3D All-Stars. It's the fact that we'll do the final video of Super Mario 3D All-Stars by telling you guys my final thoughts of this entire compilation as the game itself. So I'll see you guys later today. Later fellas.